Hello friends, I hope you are doing good. So today we will be looking at how to create physical standby database. So basically we will be creating a physical standby database from our primary database. So basically physical standby is used for doing in case of any failure happens, or if there is any issue on the primary database side. So to overcome that issue, what we'll do, we'll switch over to the physical standby side or the DR side, okay, to avoid any kind of so basically physical standby creation is for high availability purpose, and nowadays it is used for doing the reporting. Reducing your load on the primary database, we can use the physical standby database in read-only purpose, and from there the real-time data can fetch it. Okay, and so using the active data guard concept, also we can do this fetching of the data from the DR sites, and during the time of any hardware or software failure, so we can switch over to the physical standby database. So basically, creating a physical standby database for any primary database is always a good choice, and it makes high availability throughout the day. And so basically, we'll be creating a physical standby database for a single instance database. So our configuration will be we'll be doing primary along with the standby database configuration. Our server IPs will be 192.168 and 0.191, and on the standby it will be 191. So our database version, currently I have installed the Oracle 19c database, and I'm using the latest patches. I just upgraded the database to the 19.10 version, and the OS version is 7.8. So which our the two machines are up and running. One is named as a production, and another one is a standby. Okay, so these two machines are already up and running, and I've already logged on to these two machines using the mobile extreme. So before we begin further, I will be requesting, if you haven't subscribed my channel, subscribe my YouTube channel, Oracle DBA Online Training, so you can get all the necessary tutorials and videos to understand Oracle related issues and concepts. And on this YouTube channel, you will be getting most of the information in depth, and all the practical knowledges. So don't forget to subscribe, and keep watching, keep learning. So let's begin for today's tutorial. And our today's target is creating a physical standby database. So first thing first, our uh, two machines are already ready. One is called primary. So our host name, you can check, sorry, host name, this is my prod.local domain. So this will be used for production primary site, and on the standby you can check again the same command, host name. So this is standby.local domain. So both these server is up and running, and here you can check psf and ef grep emon. So my asm instance is already up and running. So basically I have used Oracle High Availability Service on each of these nodes, and so that you can use the ASM for storage purpose and data file management. You don't have to manage those your data file on a existing file system. And so I will be using ASM based file database file management. Okay, so my this ASM instance is up and running on both primary as well as the standby location. Okay, so my next target will be, I will be starting my database uh, environment. So my database will be like, first we'll go through the documents, what all the steps we need to follow. So basically, for creating any physical standby database, there will be a certain parameter that needs to be defined on the primary, and then similarly it needs to be defined for your standby database. So what are the main parameters that we need to look? DB name, so same names on for all the primary and standby databases we need to use. DB unique name should be uniquely for your primary along with the standby databases. So we'll be looking this naming convention later when we'll define these parameters. Then you have to define the archive log destinations. So basically we have a total 30 archive destinations given to us. So we'll be using the initial first two. For one will be used for your local archive destination, and another will be used for your standby database. So whatever the online redo log will be generated on the primary database will be kept on the local archive destination, and the remote archive log will be shipped through log archive destination too. Okay, and then we have to mention the standby file management. It should be automatically for creating a file on standby side. So whenever you will be creating any data file on the primary side, so automatically it get reflected on the standby side. So using this parameter standby file management, automatic data file will be created on the standby data file standby sites. Okay, you don't have to worry about those things. Next is your DB unique name. On standby it should be different than the production sites. Okay, next is DB file name converted. Basically DB file name converter is used to, suppose if your production and standby having a different naming convention used for managing your data file. So using DB file name converter parameter, you can map the naming convention. Suppose on the primary side it is your data file location is primary, and on plus data primary. Okay, and on standby it is plus data standby. So the naming convention is changed, right? So to avoid those confusion, you can use the DB file name converter, so that whatever you are doing adding on the uh, plus data primary, it will automatically be reflected in the plus data standby data disk groups. Okay, this is what the logic behind it. Similarly, you can use the log file name converter also. So where if there is a different naming convention used on primary and standby for managing the log file, so you can use this parameter for mapping those naming convention. Okay, next is archive log test one. So basically a location for archive coming from the primary database will be used for on the standby as a log archive test one. Also you can define the other destination on the standby, but there is no mandatory that you need to define those destination also. Next is your file underscore server. So basically whenever there is a gap, automatically a primary database primary side, when there is will be a gap detected on the standby, so automatically it will fetch the archive there from the defined file server name. So file server will be basically vice versa entry of your DB unique name. So if you are defining it on the primary side, so it should be pointing on the standby location, and if you are defining this on the standby, it should be pointing to your primary database. So similarly, file client will be your on entry, and this parameters is this is no more longer required in the 19C, so you can avoid these parameters. So basically high level steps will be what are the steps that we need to follow for the entire journey of creating a standby databases. Total we have to do certain first you have to check whether your primary database is post login or not. So we'll be looking all these details one by one. These are the just we are looking at what are the steps that we need to follow throughout this journey. Okay, so we'll check the post logging whether it is enabled or disabled. If it is disabled, then we will manually enable it. Next, we will make sure that the database in archive log mode. So I will be looking that part also. After that, we have to create one B file and then copy it to the standby database, and then we have to modify the parameters and directory and the p file so that we can create it on the we can no mount our standby database using this copied p file from the primary location. Okay, and then parameters for the primary database, we have to define those parameters also, then copy the password file from the primary to the standby database and make the respective directories for the standby database also. If your directory structure is similar, so you don't have to worry about. We'll later see how these directories will be created. Okay, and after that we need to create a swi file on for the standby database. So using this p file, we'll create a swi file on the standby database, and then we have to manage listener and TNS configuration. So those steps also we need to do. Listener and TNS configuration is very important in terms of whatever the redo logs will be shipped, and transfer will happen in all completely depending upon your listener and TNS configuration. Okay, and next is we need to start the listener on standby database, and then we need to check those status. And after that, the very important thing that we need to do is we have to using the RMAN, we need to connect to the primary database as a target and standby database as an auxiliary database that will be used for creating an instance. Okay, so we'll look these steps also in detail later. Next, we have to create a duplication for the creating a standby database, and we'll look these commands also. And later, post check of the status of the standby database, and then enabling the recovery MR processes, and cross verify everything is in sync or not. Okay, so these are the high level plan that we need to follow. So what I will do, I will start my existing database on the primary location. So my database name is so my database name is export Oracle _SID equal to prim. Okay, so what I will do, I will start this database on this primary node, production node. Okay, so using startup command, I will be just starting the database, and then we'll do the whatever the configuration changes we need to do. So you will refer this document, and we'll make those changes on the primary side, and then we'll create one p file and transfer it on the standby and modify it for the standby database configuration purpose. Okay, so we will be doing this step, and in between I will be requesting, if you are new to my channel, please subscribe and keep supporting and keep watching these videos. So within a week I will be posting 2 to 3 videos whenever I will be getting a chance. So our channel is helping all the Oracle database administrator who want to learn the technology in deeper, more depth. So I will be preparing these videos so that you can be able to understand all the concepts. Okay, so keep watching and keep learning. So our database is up and running. So I just cross verify the name, open underscore mode underscore log underscore mode from $3 database. So this is our primary database, and it is in read write mode and no archive log mode. Okay, so we need to put it in archive log mode also. But before going further, what I will do, I will be following this document that we have prepared for standby creation. And now I will be checking the select force login from the $3 database. So it is currently no. So what I will do, I need to have this command alter database force login. So it will put the database in force login, and again using the archive log list, I will be verifying whether database is in archive log enabled or not. So it is currently disabled. And what I will do, I will put the database in mount state, and then I will be enabling the archive logging. Archive log enabling archive log is very important for standby creation. So whenever whatever the changes is happening on the production, it will be transferred to the standby in terms of redo logs, archive redo logs. So those archive logs have all the change information that is happened in your database. Okay, so they will be transferred through the network on the standby database location, and from their destination it will automatically applied to the database. So this is how all the recovery happens. Okay, so our database is currently down, and now I will do startup mount. Okay, from this location, what I will do, I will be alter database archive log. So we need to mount the database and run this command alter database archive log. So again, we'll verify archive log list. So our archive log is already enabled. But what I will do, I will change this path log underscore archive so parameter log. From here we will verify all the destination that is defined. So log underscore archive dest will modify this parameter alter system set log underscore archive equal to plus archive scope equal to both. Okay, so we need to give it in single quote. Let me just retry. Scope equal to SP5 no. Both. So what it is saying, parameter cannot be modified because very invalid, cannot use archive log test or DB recovery file test. Okay, DB recovery file test. Okay, no problem. What we'll do, we'll keep the archive log location as a this one only. Okay. So basically we use this command alter system set log archive dest equal to location. Then we have to define the archive log location. Then we'll view the scope both so that memory and SV file it will be updated. Okay. Now what we'll do, archive will fire the archive log command, archive log list. So our archive log destination is changed to plus archive. Okay. Now what I will do, enter database open. So with this our database is open, and now what we'll do, we'll create one p file from the sp file. But before creating p file, what I will do, choose the path. Okay, create p file equal to, on this path we will create one p file underscore primary dot txt from sv file. Okay, so it will be having all the contents of the primary database. So later we'll be modifying these parameters, and will create start up the database instance on the standby. Super. Okay, so this is a few steps that we have completed so far, and now what we'll do, we'll verify these parameter also. So using the show parameter db underscore name, it is primary. So parameter db underscore unique, so it is also primary. So parameter db is also done. So this one is also done. Standby file management, currently it is manual, will modify it to auto. Also, we can verify some of the other parameter db underscore file name converter. So this is not defined as of now because default value is not defined. Okay, log file name. So this is also not defined. What we'll do, we'll create a new p file from this sv file, and so that it has all the information, whatever the changes we have done. Now we will transfer cp from this file onto the standby. So this is my standby database. Okay, what I will do, I will be just typing the 192.168.0.191 colon home. Oracle. So on this path it will be copied. So we'll go to the server, and here just cat this file. Okay, what we'll do, we'll copy this entire parameter and just paste on the new tab, on the notepad plus plus. I will be editing this parameters. Okay, so wherever the frame is defined, we'll modify the standby. Okay, so we'll modify this parameter one by one so that our db name will not be changed. Okay, so our parameter file is ready. What we'll do, we'll copy this value. Okay, and we'll go to the standby server. Here we'll go to the db home location. Here we'll create init standby dot ora. So in this file we'll put the entry. Okay, so here you can see standby is there. So what we'll do, Oracle underscore sid equal to standby. Now we'll log into the database. So here we have to do startup no mount, then p file equal to this path we have to give, but before we need to check the path. Okay, so startup no mount p file equal to, within a single quote we have to give the entire path. Okay, and the name of the file. So what I startup no mount. Okay, startup no mount p file equal to, so we have to use this p file to start up the database in no mount state. Okay, once the database in no mount, then we can go further. So guys, our database is no mount state. Okay, so you can cross verify all the parameters that we have defined. So db name is same, but db unique names would be different. Okay, so we'll modify the DB unique name to the standby. Okay, and let me just cross check what is the entry in the P file. So DB name is primary PM DB unique name. It is not there. Okay, what I will do, I will just create one SV file, and then later we can do like we will modify this parameters. Okay, so currently our SV file is in not defined. What I will do, create SV file on the plus database group from memory. Okay, so we need to check the logs, and based upon the alert log we have to set the configuration also. Yes, you have an Oracle, we need to open the alert log. Okay, so ADRs, using this utility you can we will go to the alert log of the standby database. Okay, so here we go to the trace. There will be something called alert log. So we'll check the alert log file where the okay. So guys, we have just modified this E file. Okay, I just put the DB unique name parameter also as a standby, and the DB name we have kept as it is. Okay, it is primary only. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to create a SV file on the or this group. Okay, so we'll create SV file equal to plus data this group from P file that we have. Using this P file, we will be creating a SV file on the disk group. Okay. So, basically what happens, based upon the unique name, it will have the path created inside the so here you have your SV file has been successfully created on this path. Okay, so we'll use this path and we'll modify the configuration over here. So using the command srvctl modify database -d, then we have to give the DB unique name. Okay, and then SV file, then we have to provide entire path for the SV file that we have. So it will have the entry of SV file. So in future, whenever you are starting your database, it will pick up your SV file only. Okay. Service CTL, service CTL. config. Let me just recheck the parameter what we have to do. From this command line you can get the help. You can take the help from this command line utility. Okay, so we are modifying the database -d option, then standby config database. So using -p option, I think we have to give the S3 file location. Let me just retry. A service history modify database -d standby -p. Okay, I think we are first time configuring, so we need to use config option. So basically, we have started our database with init file, and we are trying to configure S3 file, but we are getting there. Definitely, it is in various steps. So we need to first of all put the S3 file location inside the P file. So we'll use this command echo S3 file equal to. Then we have to give the entire path of the S3 file location, and we'll put this entry in this init file. Okay, so it is put in that file. Now using the servicetl command, we have to modify the location. Servicetl modify does not exist. Okay, so this entry is not exist. So what we'll do, using a servicetl and database and hyphen Oracle home. So now this configuration is completed. The servicetl config database -d standby. So using this command, we can verify our standby configuration. So our Oracle home is this one, and SP file is this one, and database unique name is this one. Okay, so what I will do, I will log into the database, and I will bring down the database first of all, and then start it using the SP file option. So let's see what is the our database is down, almost down. So once it is finished, then we'll start the database in no mount. No mount. So basically our target was to create a physical standby database using primary database. So we have modified certain parameters on the primary sides, and then we have copied the P file from we have created a P file, and then we have transferred it on the standby database. And later using the editor, we have edited the parameter file and the directory structure we have created, and now parameters for the primary database is all set, and we need to copy the password file from the primary to standby database. This is pending, and make the necessary directories on the standby. So we'll modify this directory also, and then keep the database in no mount stage. That is already done. Then C file is also created. Next part will be a listener and DNS configuration that we will be doing very quickly, very soon. And okay, just a minute. Our database is no mounted, and now we can verify the SV file. So it is taking the proper SV file location also, and also we can check show parameter db underscore name, then show parameter db underscore unique name. So unique name is different than, and then show parameter standby file management. It should be auto, so it is auto. Okay, show parameter file. So we can define this parameter also at the system set file server equal to, and whenever there is an archive gap will happen, so it will automatically fetch from the primary location. And similarly we can define it on the primary side also, but it is only applicable when we will be switching database, but it is the best practice to make the parameters unique across all the setups like primary and standby. So these are the initial task has been done. Okay, now what we have to do on the primary database, we have to modify certain parameters. So we'll modify one by one, and we'll use the text pad that we have already created. Okay, so we have to make certain parameter level changes on the primary database. So for configuring any standby database, the basic parameter that is required is log archive config. Okay, using log archive configuration, you will be creating your data guard, and using the DG config option, you are giving a DB unique name of primary as well as a DB unique name of your standby database. Okay, so we have to run this command on the production side. So we'll log into 190 server, and so we'll verify the environment variable that is there in the system. So using the SQL plus prompt, select name from $database. So this is our primary database. Now what we'll do is modify this parameter. This is done, and again you can use the show parameter log underscore config. So using the log underscore config option, you will be able to check the parameter values like a primary and standby. These are the DG configuration data guard configuration files. Okay, so next is your ultra system set log archive dest2. So whatever the archives will be shipped to the standby database using this service called the standby unique DB unique name. Okay, and then no from async options valid for online redo logs and primary roles. So using this configuration, and then DB unique name as a standby database. So we will modify this log archive dest2. So initially log archive dest2 is not defined. So we'll alter this one. 1 second. We need to copy it properly so that so now we can verify the log archive dest2 location. Okay. So safer side will enable this one, which is already enabled, I think. By default not enabled, so we have enabled this parameter. Destination to archive is already in this format, so we do not need to modify this one. So parameter log archive format, so it is in DBA format, no worries, we'll modify it. So whatever the archive will be generated, it will be in the form of .arc. We need to bounce the database to get this in effect. Next is archive log max processes. So this using this parameter, the number of archive processes that will be available to us, we can check using this. So parameter log archive configuration. And then next one is alter system set remote login password exclusive. This is also very important. I think by default it is to exclusive mode only. Let me just verify. So parameter remote login, it is already exclusive, so no need to modify this one. Next one is a file server. We can again modify this parameter also, and your file auto management is already auto, no need to worry about it. And additionally we can create a standby log files. Okay, similarly we will be creating, later we'll create on the standby also, but before that let the sorry, this path is not correctly defined. I think there is double quote, because of that it is giving me the error. I just modify this for every cases. So modify this one. So 50 MB archive redo logs will be created. So standby redo logs is very important. It should be more than one. It should be one extra log file in comparison to your online redo log files. Okay. So next target is to check the listener.ora. So basically you will require a listener log on the primary as well as on standby. So using this command called ps-a-grep we can check whether the listener is up and running. So I have additionally created a listener on primary database, also on the standby database also we have created. So ps-grep TNS. So here also I have created one standby database listener. So we'll check the status of this listener, lsnrctl status, lsnrctl status. So this is successfully up and running, and the primary database is already registered. Okay. Similarly, we'll cross check the standby also. So this is also up and running. So service is also registered with this listener. So primary and standby listeners is already up and running. So next target will be, we have to modify the tnsnames.ora files. So basically we will create tnsnames.ora file on the both primary as well as the standby database. We'll put this entry there. So we'll go to network admin location. So here we'll first check whether this TNS name is not there. So we'll create a one TNS names.ora file which will have both the entries, like primary as well as your standby. So here Here we can see both the entries are there. TNS string. Let me recheck. Right. I think the format is something because of the formatting is throwing me the error. So what I will do. I think this is now better format. So remember your TNS names.ora file should be correctly defined, otherwise we'll be getting this kind of errors. So again we'll copy this entry and try to paste in the TNS names.ora file. So guys, our TNS names.ora file was having certain issues. So what we can do is we have just formatted it properly so that all the data is aligned properly. So now we can check with, we have two entries, one is primary, one is standby. So both these host names are defined and port names for that is used by the listeners is defined. Okay, and then the service names is also defined. Now we can test the TNS ping connect. Using the TNS ping command, we can cross verify if you are getting that data or not. So it is reachable, and again you can check the same thing for the standby also. So this is also reachable. In general, in normal cases, in production like scenarios, it is very lesser milliseconds, and due to Virtualbox, it is having little of lag, you can say, but in real scenario you will never get this high much values. Okay, so our TNS name file is ready on the production environment, and similarly we have to do on the, sorry, we have configured this on the standby sites. Okay, now we have to modify the same thing on the production also. So we'll get this file TNS names.ora file, and we copy this entire entry, and we'll go to the cd$oracle underscore home/network/admin. Here we'll create file TNS names.ora. Okay, so we already have a primary database entry, but we'll modify that one. Okay, we'll paste the output over here, and now what I will do, I will modify this one as primary underscore one. Okay, so that we don't have a confusion between our so we can cross check the TNS ping command again, and again we can see the TNS ping is happening between the primary and the standby. This is our primary database, this is our standby database in no mount state. Okay, so again we'll check daemon values. This is standby, and this one is our primary database server. So we have almost finished with our initial changes, and now the network related configuration is also completed. And next part will be on the standby side. Also we have done these changes, listener and standby. This DNS names.aura file is already configured. So with this we can say our database is almost ready, and the last thing that is pending is our password file that we need to transfer on the standby from the production. Okay, so our password file on the primary is already there. So what we'll do, we'll scp this file from production to the our DR location 168.0.191. okay, and here we'll give the username Oracle @ then colon. We have to give the entire path. Okay, so we'll go to this path and just copy the path. Okay, just cross check whether any p file exists. No, there is no password file exist on the standby. Okay, so this file is transferred on the your standby location. What you can do is using the mv command, we have to just modify this file with standby sid. Okay, so we'll use the standby sid as this one. Now we are very good with our password file on the standby also and on the production also. Our next target will be where is our command file? So we'll go back to our initial step, that high level command that we have prepared. So we have already enabled the force logging, and we make sure our database in archive log more than p file creation and copy of standby also done. Edit the parameter and the directory, this is also done. In parameter file for the primary and standby, these are also done. Copy of password file is done, making the respective directory on the standby database. So once again we'll verify standby directories. So we'll go to the location, and using the grid we'll log in, and asmcmd -p option you can use to get the detail of path. ls-lrt here we'll go to the data disk, and again on the data disk we have to go to the standby. So this is our used for sv file, but what I will do, I will verify list of mount point asmcmd-p from primary. We'll try to make it sync, like whatever the paths are defined on the primary, we'll manually create those path so that we don't have to worry during the time of. Okay, so we'll all this path will create manually one by one. mkdir, we'll copy this path from production and we'll make this path over here. Similarly, we'll create a data file path also. Then again we'll create for online also, online log mkdir for temporary file also. So all these files are created. Now we'll go to one by one, cross check whether. So this is okay. We don't have to create subfiles, then just cross verify and everything. So this is also good. Next is your online data log. So this is also okay. Parameter file we have already created, so nothing to worry about that one. Next is temp file. Sorry, we go to the temp file again. This is also okay. We have created on standby, so all the file structure is created. And but before going further, what we have to do, the one of our control file is also kept on some other mount point also. So we will go to OCR disk also. Once again, we will list out all the locations. So inside this one, there is a primary location, LRT. Here we have control file again. Yeah, control file, and then again online logs. Sorry, cd command we have to use. So what we'll do, we'll create this location on OCR disk also. Okay, so we don't have to worry again. So here we can create standby location DB unique name. So whenever the paths are created, it is created based upon the unique name of the database. So mkdir, then again we have to go to create a control file, mkdir online log. So now we are very good with our directory structure. So export Oracle underscore side equal to standby. Okay, and on the primary also will come out of this ASMCMD, and will use the DB environment variable and export the Oracle SID. This is our primary database, and the next one is your standby database. Okay, we'll ready with our alert logs, so that now our next stage is final stage, that is doing the replication using RMAN utility. So we'll connect with RMAN target and the auxiliary database. So in this case, our target will be primary database, that is your target database, and standby database will be act as an auxiliary database. So in the standby side, check the RMAN connection and connect to the primary. So what we'll do, we'll have to export this one. Okay. So we'll connect to the standby database, and here we will be using the RMAN utility. We'll connect to the database. Sorry, standby, and this will be your primary. Just give me 2 minutes. I think our password is not correct. Because of that, it is giving me the error, I guess. Let me just verify. So guys, previously we are not able to connect to our this target and auxiliary database. So I need to modify certain changes that I will be showing you very quick. So in the tns names.ora file, I just use the host names and I just use the correct service names. Okay. And in the listener files also, we have just modified wherever water change is required. So SID was mentioned in capital letter, so I just mentioned in small letter and restarted the listener on the standby location. Similarly, I just did the same thing on the network file also on the primary location, and you can uh, check the this IP address was not there previously, so I just re-entered this IP address and restarted the listeners from the primary also. Similarly, I just modify the DNS names.ora entries with proper IP and service names. Okay, this is one case, and another case was we have just created the password file, and again I just transfer this password file on the standby location, and using the SID, I just done the MD. So just given the SID before after Aura PW, I just use the SID of the standby database. Okay. So with this, we are almost ready. And now what we'll do, we'll connect to our database. One is target database using primary, and auxiliary database will be your standby database. Okay. So I will just connect. So here you can see it is connected to the target database primary and auxiliary database primary, but it is not mounted. Okay. So our next target will be running the duplicate command. Okay. So we'll go to the command prompt. Okay. From here, I will duplicate the target database for standby from the active database. Okay. And no file name check. This is the command that we need to run. So just wait for some time. We will run the script in the background, and it will start the replication. It will define your channels, and it will start copying all the files from the primary to the standby location. And in the there is some error we are getting. I guess we need to modify it again or what. Let's check. Wait for some times. This file path is not there, then we need to these files are getting copied. So I will just verify what is happened using the duplicate target database for standby from active database. No file name check that we have run, and in the background, what happened? It created one script: backup as a copy, reuse, password file auxiliary, then format using this format, and then executed certain this thing SQL cloning option, altered system set control. So there is one script that is created in the background, and using that script, it is now cloning your database. And once this will be finished, then we can check further. So basically, it is copying all the files from the background, and we can also verify the alert logs also. So it has finished this copying, and switch clone data file all is also completed. That means your cloning is completed successfully. Now what we'll do, log into the database and see what is the current status. Okay, so our database name will be a primary only, but our DB unique name will be, sorry, so parameter DB underscore unique. So our unique database unique name will be standby, but DB name will be primary, and it is now physical standby and it is mounted. Okay, so with this we can say that our database is in successfully restored, and now RFS is connected. RFS connections are allowed. That means we can say our database is ready for standby replication. So next thing we can do is we can check the archive log status, sequence and applied. So this is not started yet. So using select star from $, managed underscore standby view, we can verify all the processes and other details. So what we'll do, we'll just select the selective data from $, managed underscore standby view. Okay, so we'll select process and its status. Okay, along with sequence has from $, manage underscore standby. So as we can say, all the archival processes are started. Our next target will be connecting to the primary database and checking whether the destination is enabled or not. So our dest2 is already enabled. So what we will do, we'll alter this destination, defer, alter system, set log archive dest2 to defer, and again we'll enable it. So by doing this, archive sweeping should start if it is not already starting. So we'll try to start the recovery on the standby database, and let's do some switch logs. Alter system, switch log. So our RFS process is still not started. We'll wait for a few more minutes and then we'll initiate. So guys, our physical standby database is ready, and we have enabled this parameter log archive config on standby. So DG config, within that we have to give the unique name for both primary and standby. with the help of that, our RFS process has started, and in the alert log we can see all the pending redo transfer is completed, and then recovery is also started. So using this command, we have started our recovery. Alter database recover manage standby database using current log file from the session. And as of now, we can see the latest applied archive log. So we can see this sequence is already applied. Okay. And also we can check the data guard status. So I hope you people have understood how to configure a physical standby database, and this would have been helpful for you, and I hope you enjoyed this entire video tutorial. So once again, I will be briefing you how we have started this entire process. So basically we have created one primary database, one standby database, and then we have we have defined the DB name, DB unique name, log archive dash log archive dash 2, and standby file management. So with this, we have created one P file on the primary and transfer it on the standby database and modified these parameters based upon our requirement. Okay, and then we have created a directory structure, then copied password file on the standby database. And once everything has been done, then we have using the RMAN duplicate command. We don't have to take any backup or anything. We just have to log into target and auxiliary database, and then we are able to restore entire primary database in the standby database using the duplicate command from the RMAN. Okay, and it has restored entire database on the standby location, and database is in mounted state. And later we have started our recovery, and as we can see, our primary and DR is in sync, and with this we can say our configuration is successfully done. And I hope you people have enjoyed this entire video. Please like this video and share as much as you can. And if you are new to the channel, just subscribe this channel, and we'll meet in the upcoming videos. Then we'll look how to do the switch over and other concepts related to data guard. And if you have any queries, any doubts, so you can directly ping me in the comment box. I will surely help you out, or you can type me on my email ID, which is given in the description box, or you can connect me on Facebook page also. There also you can ask me a question. I will definitely try to help you out. And don't forget to subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching, and keep learning, keep watching. Bye bye. Have a good day. Thanks.